Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about some dogs and talk about these dogs in a way of I'm just I'm confused with what I see when I go to places. And I wonder how many of you are also confused. I'm confused with what it is that y'all's trying to do with your dogs. It's just like it just puts me in confusion that I want to ask some questions today and say some things that someone may not want to hear, someone may not agree with. And let me do my disclaimer up front. I don't know it all. I don't know everything. I'm just a single human being walking on this land with eyes to see, ears to hear, a nose to be able to smell, a mouth to be able to. Y'all watching this video, I'll be talking. But out in public, I don't be talking. I'm as quiet as all can be. I'm as silent as can be. I'm always listening to what's going on around me. I don't really care to input my words into anything. I want to hear. I want to see. I want to smell. And something that I'm just constantly hearing, seeing, not so much smelling. My nose isn't that great. Today I kind of had I wish I could smell like a dog, but then I had to retract that I would need to have been born that way, because if it just came on me today, I'd probably be in a hot mess. But it's something that I'm just questioning and going to one of my cool places that I like taking my dog for a good, very, very good long run is just sitting on the bench halfway through and just being a people watcher for a little bit and just wanting to ask the question of, I thought we wanted these dogs to like be neutral to the world, you know? Maybe if you don't understand what I'm saying, calm, indifferent, chill, don't really care much. They see like the squirrel, they see the dog, they see, you'll get me with the squirrels and the little prey items like that, but especially like dogs, kids, people, toys, like balls, something that used to get my shepherd a little wild going to the soccer fields. So I just had to sit out there for a little bit because he was like, I'm about to go run after that ball. We're not about to do that. He loves him some balls. And but I thought that was what we were looking for. But then when I look at all the different training techniques, it's fascinating to be able to go to a very busy, populated area. You can kind of see like all the training going on. And all the other dog trainers out there are helping people doing what they're doing. And I just saw some interesting stuff today. I thought we want the dogs to be neutral, just calm, just being able to take them places. I see some folks out there, they're just, I guess I could say is I replicate them because I see that they have the dog I'm looking for. It's just walking and hanging out and being. They don't have no toys. They don't have no treats. They don't even like interact with the dog much. The dog just, it's kind of there. It's kind of there in a way that it's just, it looks so good. It looks so nice. It's just so chill. Then you got the other side of it that you could tell the dog training methods coming in. They got like the fat, I don't know what's going on with these treat pouches, but they get big today, y'all. Like they getting big. They like backpacks. Like they no longer just a little thing to put like 10, 15 treats in. They're like, you got like 8 pounds of food in that dang thing. You got all the gear on, all the toys, all the got 8 different water. I'm exaggerating with the water bowls, but 5 different water bowls on. You got 3 different leashes on, and you just geared up, ready to go, ready to make something happen. Your dog looks at a dog, you just give it a treat. Your dog looks at a person, you give it a treat. The dog looks at the wind, you give it a treat. The dog sits down, you give it a treat. The dog just stands up and jumps and licks you in the face, you give it a treat. The dog is scared and trying to run away, you give it a treat. I'm just looking at this thinking, if neutral and calm is what we're looking for, why aren't we doing neutral and calm to get what it is that we're looking for? Because I was thinking about the concept of positive and negative. And I'm going to use the concept of positive and negative being excited, positive, frightened, fearful, negative. We don't really want to be scared, so that kind of works. We would rather be excited than be in fear. I don't know, some people. But that's for future videos, what I'll be making after this, talking more into detail about trauma, because that's what's going on in reality, and that's what I need to further my speeches into, being able to help someone out, like really help someone out. Because when it comes down to that positive and it comes down to that negative, now that positive, we give it what we perceive as positive, which is treat. So we give a positive to a positive. Isn't that going to create more like excitability? If you're given something that's already excited, something to get it more excited, aren't you going to get something that's going to be even more excited in the end? It's not going to get to because what I want to say is neutral. We want to be neutral. If you're giving something positive and you're giving it something to get extra excited, you're going to continue to keep on having something that's going to be continued extra excited. And on the same side as that, if you got something that is fearful, so say on the negative side, and you're giving it something positive to get it to be excited, you may get a chance to be able to get in the middle. But it's not usually what's going to happen. You're going to go from fear to either you're going to double down into that fear, or you're going to go to excited. We're still not going to that middle ground that we're looking for. In the fearful side, you may, but this is where it comes down to the expertise of using these treats on a fearful dog. Because most cases, these treats with the fearful dog, all you're doing is making that dog still be more and more fearful. So you're just tripling down and making it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now the dog isn't able to do anything because it's like it's needing that treat to be able to just survive on this land. It needs instant. Sorry, that kind of sound. I just took out a rattlesnake the other day, so we're all on edge about rattlesnakes right now. Again, I just heard something that sounds like that. But I'd have to shut this off and go attack that thing real quick. But uh, when we got the dog and it's in its fear state, and we're pushing it further and further and further into that fear state, the dog is going to be like, this is where we're going to create pretty much for sure. I don't want to say for sure, but most likely an addict. It's going to be an addict. It's going to run into the scenario that it needs it. It's fiending that to be able to live. It's fiending something to like, I need to treat. I seen the dog. I need to treat or I'm going to explode. I need to treat or I'm going to explode at that person. I see the squirrel. I'm going to explode if I don't get the treat. The wind is blowing. I can smell something 18 miles from over there and I need to treat or I'm going to explode. They start to become addicts and just dependent upon that. And once you start to become dependent upon something, it's not so easy to just like fade, make it go away as I learned in the school. It's much easier to fade it away from the excitement. I've seen that. It does work pretty good. But out of the fearful side, the dog just it becomes an addict. And then if you do give a treat, every other time, every fifth time, every 10th time, now you have an extreme addict on your hands. An addict that just is, if anyone's been around, I don't even care what type, but the one that's easiest that most people probably have a good understanding of is the drug side of it. If anyone's been around someone that's been on some sort of drug, especially like, I don't know what it is, but the worst cases that I've seen, it's not so much as the meth and all that, but it's the pain pills. Oreo, I need some space, man. It's the pain pills. They turn into like, I mean, they'll do anything to get that medicine. They'll do anything. I mean, they'll rob you. They'll go to the point of taking a human life to get what they need because it's fiending that much. And when they're not getting it, they're just like, I need. And then you wonder why. Because for me, at the end of the day, folks, the one call I get that the dog is biting, it's a fearful dog that I see. I don't see this confident, good-looking dog. No, I see a fearful dog that has primarily been used with treats. And then something happens that you stop reinforcing that treat. And what happens is that it needs it more. It starts off like, say, a steady dose of one every 10 seconds. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, we're good. And then it starts to get faster, 5 seconds. And then it starts to become like we're just having to we see dog and we're just jackpot every single time because the dog is just, it's fiending it. And then we decide, okay, I'm going to try to wean you off. You're going to try to wean an addict off. What do you think is going to happen? Like catastrophe is going to happen. And a dog that's going to absolutely flip out. It's not going to know what to do. And then it's going to build so much and have an explosion. And then you're going to treat to try to get it back in in control. I guess I could say it's not the proper word that I like to use there, but I can't think of a better word right this second. But to get it back under under its threshold, you're having to you got to do more, way more. And then now since it had that blowout, it's harder to get it regulated again. The dog now is starting to become sporadic. So now it's like, well, he used to only bark at dogs, but now he's barking at this people, the ducks, the bird, the wild birds, everything. It's starting to bark at everything now. It's no longer just I knew what he was barking at, but now it's just it's anything. Now inside of the house, the dog is just pacing this sporadic. You hear a bump in the night, and the dog is just not even in the night. Man, that's kind of best case scenario. But during the day, the dog is just flipping out and can't calm down for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And you're like, I thought I was getting somewhere. It's because we're creating addicts. And an addict is dangerous to be around because they will do whatever it takes to get what they need, to feel a sense of self. So if the dog is in this sense of, I don't know what to do, and it needs this to be able to survive, we're going to end up with a dog that is going to know more than willing to chew on you to get that treat because it needs it. It needs it to be able to, in its brain at that moment, survive. It's going to die. That's what happens to humans when they're on those pain pills, man. They're going to die. They get what is called dope sick. That the body is literally giving off my goodness, thank goodness. Thank God I never went to nothing like that. And that's one thing I can't help someone out recovery because I don't know what that feels like. I don't know how intense that actually truly is. But I've seen people and I've worked with people real close to me to see what happens, man. They shut down. And the body is literally attacking. It's attacking and it's dying. You think it's dying. It's not actually dying though. but you think that it is. And when that starts to go on, you'll start to do savageness to get your fix again. And that's what's going on with a lot of these dogs that I'm seeing. We're not getting the dogs to be in a neutral stance. We're actually like doubling down and or best case scenario, getting them more excited. Then on the same thing with the whole excitability part of it. I'll talk 5 minutes about that part. I'm gonna talk 5 minutes about the excitable. Your dog is already like on 10. Like my Dalmatian, she's on, I don't know, she on 10 like all the time. Some days I do look at her like, can we calm that down? But then I'm like, I like it. I don't know what it is. It's just not for everybody. I seen a Dalmatian today. I was actually surprised. Someone was like, wow, we seen two in this spot. We never see them ever. But I saw another one, and she was about 4 years old. Much more calm, much more chill. So maybe she'll chill out more when she gets a little bit older. But she's like on 10 all the time. And for me to take the 10, and as much as this dog loves food, oh my goodness, I might have to like bring some treats out one day, because especially stuff that I make that I don't give it to her because she looks like an addict when I have this stuff out. And I give it to the other dogs, and like, she probably gets in her feelings a little bit, but she'll be okay. But if she's already excited, she's already looking at dogs, looking at people, looking at skateboards, looking at bikes, looking at squirrels, looking at deer, looking at, my goodness, lizards, looking at, my goodness, dragonflies. My goodness, this girl's fishing at this point. She goes in the water, she sees fishes, she's trying to get the fish. Like, if she's already that excited, and I'm going to come in and give her treats to get her more excited, do you think that that's just going to like poof, disappear one day? Or you think that the dog is just going to continue, Oreo, we're not doing that. Continue to keep on getting more and more excitable, where it's almost going to get so excited that it's going to get out of control, that it's going to be so just like, I want the reward, I want the reward, I want the reward. And then in the reality, the same way, it'll do whatever. Ophi, we good, girl. We good. We good. Don't get off my homie like that. I know he cool with it, but he not cool with it. I'm not cool with it. I don't even care if he cool with it right now. We're not doing none of this right now. We're not doing none of this. This is like right here, right now. I can come in and, oh, they're all excited. Let's give them treats to get them to hang out. It's going to keep jazzing them up more and more and more, to the point that they're going to start to get to the point that it's just like, it's an explosion. We're good. It's an explosion that the dog is just like, it's going to turn in the same way, an addict the same way, but maybe not in a such as bad way, but it's going to turn into, the way I want to say it is, more pushy, more attitude, more arrogant, more just attitude like no other. Because the dog's going to say, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. You better give it to me now. You better give it to me now. Shut up. You better give it to me. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Because the dog is just going up and up and up and up and up. And it's going to get to this point that it's going to want to run and go and just go wild. As opposed to what we're looking for, calm. That's why the one thing that I just really just see this across the board is, when I see a calm dog, I see someone that's doing what I'm just going to continuously keep recommending over and over and over to everyone, is nothing but just be neutral. You're not going to be the supplier of, let me bring the excitement up. You're not going to be the supplier of, let me try to bring this excitement even down. What's going to end up happening is the dog is going to be fluctuating, and it's going to be able to find a neutral ground. And in that neutral ground, it's going to be so hard to get that dog fearful. It's going to be so hard to get that dog excited. It's just going to learn a baseline of, this is just where we stay. So when we're in that baseline of, this is where we stay, when the dog sees squirrel, it's going to take time for that dog to like, there it is, there it is, there it is. It's not just going to explode into it. Because if you're doing the treats and I'm going to get the dog out of it, trying to get the dog excited to get out of that, the dog is going to have an explosion after it. Because it's already excited. If the dog's already excited, it's going to be quick to bark. It's going to be quick to take off. It's going to be quick to bite. It's going to be quick to do anything. At the same time, if the dog is extremely fearful, it's going to be quick to run away. And some of these dogs, I mean, they'll fight. They'll fight in. They'll do what they got to do if they're scared. But they're going to be quick to do that. They're going to be quick to run away. They're going to be quick to run off to try to get it to kill it. They're going to be quick to do that. But when they're stable in a neutral stance, they're not excited and they're not in fear. It's going to take time. And to get the dogs to be able to do that is to just be with the dogs and hang out with the dogs. Stop trying to get them excited and stop trying to get them to be scared. Because that's what goes on. We get them excited with the treat and we get them scared with the leash. We're going back and forth here. And going back and forth, that at the end of the day is what I'm going to continue to keep talking about for I don't know how long until I can keep on going at it, but it's going to create some sort of trauma. And it's going to create a lack of trust and a lack of understanding what's going on. Because 1 second we're like, we're all excited, let's go in this free for all. And then the next second we're like, holy crap, you're like about to take my life. And a dog is going between both of these. And that's why the best case scenario to do with them is to just be on a baseline of nothingness. Nothingness. Allow the dog to be able to stay calm. And once it gets excited, it'll be able to calm down on its own because you're not trying to finagle, do anything to the dog, but allow the dog to regulate its emotions. It can do that. These dogs are not, I don't want to use that word, but dumb. They're not like nothing. They can handle what's going on with them. But depending on what we're doing is what's messing that up. If we're giving them treats, we're not allowing them to be able to know how to be able to just relax because we're trying to keep them to stay excited. You're saying, oh, you're excited? Let's stay excited. Let's stay excited. Let's stay excited. And at the same time, if the dog is excited and you're trying to come up with leash pressure, you're saying, hey, buddy, I'm going to force, I'm going to dictate, I'm going to demand, I'm going to punish you to get out of that excitability. So the dog is nervous to get excited. This is something that I've seen many times. That's why a lot of y'all, depending on what you've been doing with these dogs and how long you've had them and how long you've been doing stuff that's just kind of ruthless at the end of the day with them, once you allow them to be able to do something, once you allow them to be able to, let me just give a simple story of my household. I've been so hard on my Johnny, so hard on him, so hard, I said, sit, down, place. I said, you better do it. You don't get a choice. You have to. That's the training that we do. When you told him to sit, it's right. I only say it once, and I don't want to have to say it twice, and you better not get up until I say okay. That's how I used to be with this dog right here. It was ruthless. It was ruthless. So when I started to relax that, and I started to, because he's always been able to get on the couch, but he always has to ask me. That was my rule. You get on there, but you gotta come through me before you could do that. And once I relaxed that and just give him some freedom to say, you can do that, man. He still to today does not just jump up there. I have to, you can do it. I have to do something. I have to give him some eyes. I have to do a hand. I have to say, okay. I have to say, you can get laid down. I have to do something because he's so traumatized on what's going to happen if I do this and I'm not supposed to. So it's going to take time to be able to get the dogs to be able to do things that you in reality want them to do. For this guy to get him to like chase with me, it is so hard because I beat him literally. Like using the collars, using the e-collar, using the prong collar, using my slip leash to the point of choking this dog to get him to stop chasing stuff. So now when I bring the foot prod, he's looking at it suspicious like, buddy, I don't know what you're trying to do to me. And that's like ingrained in him because of how long that I was doing that with this dog. Regular dog, I'm not talking like beating them, doing anything savage of animal abuse. I'm doing dog training stuff that everyone on this YouTube right now is showing is acceptable to be able to do with dogs. I'm not talking about taking I just seen a video today, a guy take a baseball bat out and try to intimidate these dogs. I ain't doing none of that. I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting on the guys to do this, the little pole, hit the dogs with the sports stuff. I mean, that at the end of the day, that's impressive. I can't say that it isn't. And I'm not for that, but it's just not me. They're not abusing those dogs. There's rare abuse that you see online. Even the people that get charged with abuse, people are showing that on YouTube right now, and people are cheering it on like it's the greatest thing. But yet that person gets, or they try to put charges. They can't even put, I don't know what it is. That's one thing that if I could change, I could change. Is the animal abuse laws. That the people are hurting these dogs. And it could just walk away like whatever, and it's okay. And I was doing all that. So when I get this boy to chase, he's looking at me like, no, I know what's going to happen because it's in him. He has that in him. And I have to somehow get that out of him to let him know, like, it's okay, we're fine. Everything is all right. There's nothing to worry about here. And that sucks. But that's what's going on with a lot of people's dogs. Why your dogs, you can't actually get them tired because they don't go all out. When you see my border collie, when he runs after that flirt pole, that boy is going 100. He's never, ever, ever, ever in his life, maybe one time, you'll get me, but he's never been told not to chase, not to pursue, not to go all out and go. Like just earlier today, we're moving chickens, man. Go all out. You got full game. I've never told him no. So when I play that game with them, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is too much for him when it's warm out or hot out. It's not warm. It's hot right now. It's humid today. But he goes all out and he gets it all out. Everything. He's not holding nothing back. He's letting everything go. What happens to a lot of dogs is if we've punished them and or we're trying to the so-called reward them for trying to get them to stop doing that, the dog is going to be suspicious. And it's going to hold back. It's going to hold out. It's going to say, I don't know about this. It's like my Dalmatian. When we run in and she's pulling, I've never got on her about pulling. I say, you're on that harness, you free game. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes. Like today, I got a little jammed up that I forgot to switch the collar, and we were just walking and hanging out, and she saw a lizard, and she's like, "Let's go!" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess we're running right now." We was just walking, kind of just having a little bit of a break session. I get tired. I can't keep up with this dog all the time, but each day is different. But she has free game to just go. I never. I'm. It is what it is. Even if I get into a situation where I'm like, "Ah, man, I didn't want that right now." Actually, I just shut up and I say, and she's going to always in that harness just pull like a maniac. She has no restrictions. She has nothing to say what I'm doing is wrong. I'm doing what's right. The harder that she feels that harness pull on her chest, the better she's doing. And she has that ingrained in her brain. So it takes 3 to 4 minutes of her just going all out, just pulling all out, and she's exhausted. She's good. She's like, I'm good. Listen, we keep running, but we can't run like that no more. But we go walk, and we could just do a little trot along after that. So since she's able to do that, she gets it all out. But what happens is we are punishing these dogs for doing such a thing, and now the dogs are holding all within them behind. And that now the dog is suspicious of everything that's going on with us because we're playing with them. We're traumatizing them. And not only that, the dog, but you're traumatizing your own self. You're on edge your own self. You're nervous and worried your own self of, do I have the right treat on me? Do I have the right toy on me? Do I ever have the right leash and the right collar on me? Am I going to meet a dog today that's like, unfortunately, today I saw, well, it was only 3 of them, 3 dogs that just barking savagely in my dog's face. And she just looks, she impresses me today because she understands what we're doing. She just looks at him like, dude, shut up. Like literally, like she just looks him dead in the eye. I'm looking dead at her, looking that dog dead in the eye, and that dog's just barking, going crazy, and she's just looking right at him like, get off of me. Like, let's not do this right now. We're not doing that. And that's came from me not playing with her emotions, not making her think that, oh, you can't look, don't look, don't look. Oh, you better, if you look, you're gonna get punished. If you look, you're gonna get a reward. No, it's neutral. I'm allowing her to be able to assess the situation. Day one, heck no, this girl lunged at a few dogs herself. Not in a way of like, shoot, in the way that everyone else sees it, man. It looks scary, it's scary. And she just took off. So bang, I see dogs, she's just trying to get into their face. She's done that a few times. She's barked at a few dogs a few times. She's never really growled. I never hear this dog growl. I don't think I've ever heard her growl yet. But she will show them teeth, though. She showed them teeth sometimes. And that scares people more than anything over a dog barking. Dog showing teeth. That's like, holy crap. Something about to go down right now. But I'm not playing with their emotions. I'm not playing with this dog's emotions no more. I'm just being neutral. And that neutral stance is unfortunate for her. It's I'm going to say easy because there wasn't much behind what I was doing with her for a little while there. Forcing her, you better down, you better this, you better be with me. I stopped forcing that. So me and her, I've got way more time with her with just being neutral, not doing anything, but just bringing her in the world. So she's moving faster. Same with my border collie. He moves fast because we didn't have that. But this dude's taking some time because he's, at the end of the day, when I look at him and see him, he's traumatized. He's traumatized. I saw him in the dog training school when I was going through the program of doing stuff with him. Basic obedience, cool, man. The dude was pretty chill. He was like, I could sit for a minute. I think it was sit for a minute, down for 3 minutes, and place bed. I think it was a cot bed for 5 minutes. And he had to do it wasn't so much of a formal heel. I think it was a loose leash walk and sit at the door and wait for the door, open the door. Simple stuff. He's like, this is legit. Which at the end of the day, that's why I can still say today, like a simple thing of basic obedience is it's whatever. But it's when we want to like put more pressure upon to like perfect it to make it look so much better. Oh, you better sit, and I want to be able to walk 500 yards away, and you better still sit there. When I tell you to sit, you better never get up. Never get up. I don't care if there's a kid by, a ball, anything. I don't care if you're scared. I don't care if you're happy. I don't care nothing. You better stay because I told you to stay there. You start to put those standards out, that's where things start to get dangerous. That's where the dog is, you're playing with the dog's emotions at that moment. Because that dog gets scared and it breaks a command because it's scared of something over there. Now you come in and punish that dog. Now it's scared of you and that, and it doesn't know what's going on. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know what to do. The dog's going to end up getting traumatized. And then what starts off is we're treat, bring him excited. And then we're like, no. And then it's like, what just happened? I see this on hundreds of, that's the number I want to say. Not that I've seen this, but I can guarantee you there's hundreds of thousands of videos on this YouTube right now, if not even more than that, of people doing that exact thing that I just said. Treat, dogs happy, dogs excited, dog breaks stay, and they come in and just correct that dog. They put that prong collar on and they just yank the heck out of that thing and say, I said stay there. There's like hundreds of thousands of videos of that going on, and that's not, knowing that's not animal abuse. It's okay. This is tolerable. This is acceptable. That's why for me things are much more different, because I can see the end result. This is the thing that I notice is different and new of today. We live with the dogs. That's something that I was always wondering, like, what's going on? How are we struggling? We've I'm gonna say as a collective of a people, we've had dogs, but now we live with them. They're in our homes. They're in our beds. They're in our bedrooms. They're in our showers. They're in our bathrooms. I don't know about shower. You better not be showering with no dog. But you showering your dog in your shower. You giving your dog a bath in there. Like we're with the dogs. We're integrated with the dogs. We're bringing the dogs to work. We're bringing the dogs everywhere we go. We're loading up in the car, taking them to the store. We're bringing dogs to the restaurants. We're living with dogs now. We're no longer just have the dog in the backyard, have the dog over there, have the dog in the kennel, have the dog. The dog is integrated in with us now. And that's going to bring a level of complexity that we cannot just. This is the thing that. This is why I think that most people are having problems right now, is because we're bringing these dogs in and we're thinking that we could just do whatever we want to get what we want out of that dog, and not caring about the individual of the dog, what the individual needs are of the dog, the individual emotional state of that dog. And someone's going to say, "Oh, Mark, you're an idiot right there. You had me until you were talking that way." But that's what dogs are. We good, Shadow. That's what dogs are. That's what dogs represent. Dogs represent just an individual being that's capable of doing some very incredible things, all on its own in reality. I mean, most of these dogs, they don't really need us. Need us. They can go live on their own. They could do what they need on their own. And for an animal that's capable of doing that, and we're stripping and forcing them into the home, and we're not really understanding what that dog is, you're going to traumatize that animal. And then you're going to start to have issues. And most cases, I see the traumatic instance happen because we're coming in with like, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, getting the dog all excited and expecting that dog to be able to be like a neutral, calm dog in society. And then when that dog doesn't become neutral and calm, we only see the dog keep getting more and more excited. We come in and we're just like, we slap that collar on and say, now you better calm down. I'm telling you to calm down. And then, in my opinion, which is really starts to mess things up, if you just leave it at that, you might be all right. You might have an all right dog that's just going to be okay. But what I think that really starts to mess the dogs up is when we come in and we give them the treats and then we correct them all in the same go. Within the 15-minute working session, we've done that just back and forth, 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 and the dog has no idea what's going on in life. Ophi, you getting deep on my Oreo. Y'all actually playing, which I can't be mad about it, but I just want to make sure that you cool with it. You're not too much of a playing dog. You serious about business, dog. You play with her. I don't care. She's just chewing all on. She chew on Kahi. She like to chew. Johnny, you's a non-playing dog. I know. You who you are. That's what just starts to happen is the dog we're going looping back and forth, up and down. And that up and down is what starts to create the dogs to get just confused and start to not realize what life is. Am I good? Am I bad? Am I good? They're guessing. That's what I've seen, especially in this Johnny man here. I've seen that in him. I've seen that he would just look at me. Because even now, when I'm like, hey, get on the couch, he looks at me like, you sure? You sure? Because I don't know. Is this okay? I can see that going in his brain where he's like, is it okay? Am I allowed to dance around right now? And that's a horrible thing for anyone, especially a dog, but mainly, especially a human being. Especially a human to be in a stance like that. Unsure. Did you put the dishes away correct today? Are you sure you did it right? And you're like contemplating, thinking that all day long. Did I do it right? Are they gonna yell at me? Are they gonna discipline me? Are they gonna do something to me because I didn't put the plates in the exact order that they need to be in? And when you're going through stuff like that, you're not living life right now. You're struggling, way struggling. You're struggling to the point that you don't know what's going. You're not living, man. And that's what I want more and more people to really understand. And not only just the dog, but your own self to get out of that and figure out how to be able to get and do what you need to do. Because the dogs, they put that boundary on once it goes too far. They bite you, just straight up. That's what they start doing. and they stop listening to you. I've been in many households that you call the dog's name and the dog doesn't even flinch. I'm like, we sure this dog isn't deaf? And the dog is just purposely not listening to a single thing that you have to say. And or the dog starts chewing on you. Then it puts that boundary, says, hey, we're not doing that no more. That's too much. And that's something for us as humans, the human to human. We need to put boundaries upon other people in our households if that's going on with you. You're going through this I'm unsures and I don't knows. You're traumatized. And the only way to get through that, for one, is just to understand what's going on. And two, be able to step up and stand on your feet and say, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And say to that person, say to that thing, I'm not doing this anymore. Because that's what we're doing this back and forth with these dogs. We traumatize these dogs, then the dog comes back and does it to us. Johnny, leave them alone. I don't need the fun police right now. You just let them have their fun. You stay out of it. We just hang out. I see you. I don't know what it is with you. This dog is not about play. And if there is play going on, he's like, I got to stop that play. I got to cut that play out. I got to make sure that stops. I don't know what it is. He's a very interesting dog. That's why I like using him for some dogs that are just too super excited. He just looks at him and says, we're done with that right now. We're just going to hang out. We're chilling right now. It's a very interesting thing. But in the end, I stripped his excitableness out. So in the end, I'm not going to say that dogs are jealous or envious, which I don't know. No one in reality probably even knows. But he has something in him that's like, I see people having fun, I see dogs having fun. I want to have fun. But he's unsure if he can do that or not because he's been stripped of that. All excitement stripped from his life. When he wasn't sitting right, it just went straight to, there's no more treats involved with training this dog. It was all just leash pressure at that moment. He got stripped of all excitement in his life. Now I'm trying to bring him back up and say, hey, Johnny, we can have fun. We can run, we can play, we can be goofy, we can do stuff. But he's on edge. He's like, I don't know. So that creates something that, I mean, if you got a border collie like that with high energy, you got a German Shepherd like that with a lot of energy, it's gonna be hard to drain that dog's energy because it's suspicious all the time. It's like I can't let it loose because I'm just gonna get beat down. I'm gonna get beat down. Not able to have fun, not able to just express yourself, be yourself. So when you're not able to do that, you're gonna run into that scenario that's depression kicks in, man. Loneliness kicks in. Everything of negative types of characteristics are going to start to come. And that's what's going on with a lot of the stuff with these animals. If you just did what you did and put the dog in the backyard and didn't interact with it and you brought the dog back out, the dog will be happy to be like, hey, let's do that again. But when you're constantly beating the dog down inside of the home, you're constantly getting the dog excited all day, never allowing the dog to just be able to chill. Because they're just treat. Yeah, get off. And the dog is just on a rampage all day long. That's the dog it's going to turn into a psycho, man. It's going to go wild and it's going to go crazy. And it's going to not know what to do. And you're not going to know how to be able to read it correctly anymore. You're going to be like, oh, he's fine with this dog, but then he goes and attacks it. And you're like, whoa, what's going on? He's fine with the grandparents, but now he goes and attacks them. You're like, whoa, what's going on? You're like, you can't figure out the situation anymore. Everything is just sporadic. And it's sporadic because the dog is just, it has to do that. It has to. There's no way that it can't. It has to. And if it just shuts down and it stays down and it just does nothing, it just submits, it just folds, maybe you got yourself the lucky dog. But that's where someone gets a dog like that and thinks, oh, I'm going to get another one. Then the next one doesn't do that. That's a huge thing that I hear a lot. My old dog, but this one here, he doesn't, because I'm like, I know, those old things that you used to do on that dog dog just submitted and said okay to, this new dog is saying, no, you're not treating me like that. You're not going to do that to me. I'm not the one. And that's what's going on. And the dogs, most dogs aren't just, let me beat you into submission, just make you conform to me. Most dogs aren't going to work that way. And that's why, unfortunately, today I'm seeing that a lot. I don't want to say most yet. I'm not 100% on that. We got to get more data and more understanding and more things to figure out. But a lot of dogs are we're struggling right now. We're struggling. As simply as seeing how an explosion of dog training is going on right now and the need for it and people desiring it so much, it just lets me know that not great of things is going on right now. Not the best of the best. If you could just start up a company and you're just busy. I mean, anyone can start up any dog training stuff, go to any traditional dog training methods. I only use treats. I only use balance. I'm this. You're busy. You're busy. People are calling all the numbers. And then it gets to the number and says, oh, you got time? Can you come by next week? Oh, everyone, you just get busy really fast. And to me, that's because there's so much chaos going on. But to me, at the end of the day, I wish that people just wouldn't go any route of that. Just hang out with the dog. Be neutral with the dog. Be chill with the dog. Go find somebody. If you're like, I'm thinking about getting a dog, and or you have a dog, find the person at the park right now, and you see that dog, you're like, oh, that's a nice looking dog. I want my dog to look like that when I'm walking around. Go talk to them. Ask them what they do with that dog. Ask them how they interact. Ask them where the dog sleeps. Ask them what they eat. People love talking about their dogs. So don't get in your like, that's one thing that if you a shy person on this planet, people love talking about their dogs. They like talking about their dog. I mean, people like talking about their dogs more today than they like talking about their kids and their spouses. But people love that. They'll tell you the whole story about the dog. They'll tell you when they got it, where they got it, how old it is right now, who the vet is. They'll tell you everything going on about the dog. So you see someone that's got a dog and just ask them, what are you doing? What are you doing with this dog? What kind of leash are you using? You give them treats to get them to do this? You give them leash pressure to get them to walk like this, to be like this out here? Just ask those questions. Ask. And they're going to be able to tell you and give you that guidance. No, they're not the expert, but they have what the expert is trying to give you. And if you could bypass all of the mumbo jumbo, you could be able to get what you're looking for without having to in a way, go to the point of messing the dog up anymore. Because that's what goes on, man. The dog is all right, and then we go to that trainer, and then the trainer does this. I hear this so much. The dog, I got the dog back and it's worse. I got the dog back and it's worse. I got the dog here and it's worse. I'm doing this dog and it's worse. I get this and it's worse. It's worse, it's worse, it's worse, it's worse, it's worse. 5 trainers in, it's worse. What do I do? Where do I go? As opposed to going to the first one and say, hey, I actually got better. Why isn't it like that's what I constantly hear? All I hear is nightmares from going to dog trainers. Nightmare situations. I'm already going to someone who's already traumatized from what used to happen and trying to explain to them that I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt your dog. I'm going to make your dog more confident. I'm going to make you more confident. I'm going to make y'all a better pairing together so that y'all could be able to navigate this world better. We're not trying to shut the dog down. I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm not trying to control your world. I'm not trying to control the dog's world. And it's so hard to explain that when someone that just sees their dog get beat down. And then you're suspicious of what's going on. You yourself. And your dog is also suspicious. So I come in, I put dog on a leash, and the dog is going to look at me like, you going to do what they did? You're going to do what they did, didn't you? Aren't you? You're going to make that happen, aren't you? And I'm like, no, man, we're cool. And the dog's like, okay, I'm cool with this guy. But wait until you do a little bit. You bring back some old PTSD in that dog. Then the dog's going to, it's going to have a issue. It's going to have a dilemma go on. And we want to not get to that point. That's why for me, it's not a great thing to have a nice hangout, calm pet dog to be worrying about. I need to give it treats to get it to calm down. I need to give it the leash pressure to get it to calm down. Both of those methods, which is like what 99% of dog training represents, is going to only make you be in more control and more managing your dog without allowing your dog to just be able to freely dance around in this world. You're going to be hooked on regiments to be able to just simply take your dog around the block in the neighborhood. Forget about even trying to go to the parks like the places I go. You're not even going to be considering that. You're going to be only around the block, only in your little neighborhood, only maybe even around your house. You're not taking a dog anywhere. That's what's going on with most people. There's like millions and millions of dogs, but when you go out in public, how many of these millions of dogs does anybody see? These dogs are locked up, man. These dogs are behind closed doors. They're behind closed doors because why? The dog is 1, too excitable, or 2, too fearful. So we're trying to get treats to a fearful dog and or leash pressure to a fearful dog. It's going to continue to keep a dog fearful. We're trying to give treats to an excitable dog and or trying to give a leash pressure to get the excitable dog to get into a calm stance. And now we ended up with more of a fear dog. And that's just what's going on. Like all around that I just constantly keep on seeing. All around that everything I just keep on seeing on the internet. All around all these videos that I just keep on seeing. I don't even watch dog training videos anymore. I just kind of gave up on that. Because I just see the same stuff over and over and over again. Over and over again. Look, the dog can sit. Oh, the dog's not sitting that great? Okay, let's punch the dog now. I'm like, what? What's going on? Like, dog just did it. It did it so nicely. And now you're just, your ego is like, I want more. As opposed to just being happy. That the dog just is happy. And the dog is just chill. And the dog is content. And that's one thing that I know that all of these dogs are looking for is calm me down, man. I got this energy. Get me to relax. And when you're not able to do that for that dog, when all you're doing is stuff to be able to get that dog more excitable, you're messing up. You're messing up. And the main thing is the dog has something it needs to do. Some of these dogs be running. Some of these dogs be chasing. Some of these dogs be sniffing, searching. Some of these dogs be digging. Some of these dogs be doing something. They do something. So when you give that dog that something and let it be able to go all out, it's like, now you calling me now. Thank you. And there's no added stuff that we need to do in this outside of you and a leash. Maybe a harness if you want to get the dogs to be able to pull and chase and do what they do in a way that you're going to have yank it on their neck. But you give that to that dog, and the dog is just, thank you, satisfied. Thank you. I'm satisfied with what I just said. But there's going to be a slight change in some of the videos that I'm going to be continuing doing in the future. It's not going to be 100% dogs, but my main theme that I've always talked about in reality since day one I ever even made a video is dogs, because they're fascinating, and they've taught me a lot. And that's the concept of what I kind of want to talk about, is how these dogs can teach us some things, and being able to help us being able to get into a better place. And in reality, the better place starts with us first, and then the dogs get into a better place. And that's what I want to be able to help out more people with just stuff that I've done, and talk a little bit more about why I do what I do and what's going on with me. Why I'm even out here in the middle of, it's quiet today. When it rains, it's quiet. And it's raining in July, like strange here in Texas. I appreciate that, but I'm not going to not want the rain, but it's different. Well, I'm even doing all this. What happened in my life even to get me to be here? Because what happened to me in my life and what was going on with me is very similar to a whole lot of people right now. And the main thing that I want to say is the only way that in reality, a lot of us, most all of us, most every human being on this planet can only get into a better place when they are seen and heard. And that's something that I want to be able to get started with, being able to help people out. But it's not me. It's everyone as a collective group doing something to be able to help each other out. That's the only way in reality that I've seen people that, especially when it comes down to a traumatic event and being traumatized and being, just a good word that I like using there is neglected, is it allows people to be able to get better, because you're not alone. Because a lot of people feel alone. Like, I'm the only one. My dog's the only dog that's messed up. Promise you. I guarantee you, you are not the only one with a dog that's messed up. Mine have been real messed up. But I realized something, that when I started asking more questions of my own self, why am I messed up? And started to work on that and deal with that, and just had to live through the struggles of that. I started to realize that the dog started to come along on this journey as well with me. And then I started to see the inspiration that dogs can be able to give me in my life to be able to make my life better at this moment today. The stuff that I do with them kind of just, it could put a smile on a person's face as opposed to just being a nuisance. And in my opinion, I believe that that's what dogs are supposed to be, is a blessing, something to make our lives easier, better, more exciting. Not something to be a nuisance that's dragging you down, that's destroying you, that's just beating you up all day. That's not what dogs are supposed to be. They're supposed to help us. And it's kind of the whole reason why we started using them and breeding them, is to help us, to do stuff for us, to make our lives easy. And that's what I want to get to back to people, is to be able to allow a dog and make your life easy. Make you feel comfortable and confident. Make you feel a sense of safety and security. And being able to just relax. Be able to have something in your life that is there for you in a way. I don't want to say it like that, but say it in a way that the dog ain't going to lie to you. Dog is just straight up. And when a dog's just straight up, it's such a beautiful thing to be around. And that's, I don't know how to explain it. It's a really neat experience.